You know, crappies are a fan favorite across North America. They're fun to catch and good to eat. Everybody has their own way they like to clean fish, but today we're going to show you 3 tried and true methods for cleaning crappies. The first is just using a single blade fillet knife. The second is using an electric fillet knife. And the third is using a spoon to scale them and a knife to head and gut the fish. The first one is just, we're going to use a single bladed fillet knife. I'm using one of the smaller versions of the Bubba blade. And basically you're going to lay the fish down back towards you. You're going to lift up the 2 fins, the pelvic and the pectoral fin, make a cut back towards the gills, and then you're going to turn the fish to its pointing you, and you're going to run the blade down the backbone just above the rib cage. I like to go back and feel it touch the rib cage. You can hear that. Then stick the knife through down towards the tail and cut right through. The next step would be to peel the fillet back like this, so you're exposing the rib cage right there. And we're just going to take the knife and we're going to cut along the edge of it. And when we make that first cut, we're going to peel the skin one way and we're going to push down and cut with the knife the other way. So you're basically cutting and peeling the fillet away from the fish. So there's one side. And we'll do the same on the other side. We're going to go under the fins. We're going to take and point the fish towards us, and we're going to run the knife along the back side here, along the dorsal fin. I'm going to poke it out there, go down through, and then we're going to spin it around again, run the knife up the edge. So there's the rib cage again. So we're going to take it along the ribs and then peel and cut at the same time. So then we're getting a nice little fillet off the fish. After you remove the fillet from the fish, the final step would be removing the skin from the fillet. Now in some cases, you'll want to leave a patch of skin on the fillet for transportation. But if you're not doing that, the way to remove the skin is simply lay the fillet flat on the board. And it's also handy to keep the fillet close to the edge of the table so you don't have to flex the blade to remove the skin from the fillet. Pinch the back of the fillet, the skin of the fillet with your fingernail, and then run the knife underneath it and remove the meat from the skin. For the second version, we're going to use the electric fillet knife, and then this time we're going to not cut around the rib cage but go through it. So we're going to do the same thing, go around the fins, cut straight down, then we're going to turn the blade sideways and run it all the way back, like so, cutting right through the rib cage. Flip it over. I'm actually going to go this way this time and run it the same way because I'm a lefty here. We're going to cut behind the gills, cut straight down and across. So now we still have to deal with the rib cage in the fillet. So this is a 2-bladed electric knife, so just because these are a little bit smaller fish and I want to get more meat off of the fillet, I'm going to use my smaller single blade fillet knife and just simply run it under the ribs and cut this little piece of rib meat out. Rib cage, there's one fillet, and we'll do the same on the other one. Start it out underneath the ribs, and then we'll just do a quick little swipe like that, and there we go, we got them out. And again, with this method, the last step is removing the skin from the fillet. And the third method, I guess we'll call the old school method, is I guess considered scaling, heading, and gutting a fish. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to take this fish, we're going to take all the scales off of it, and we're going to cut the head off, and we're going to remove the entrails and have a whole piece of fish here. Now over the years, there's been a lot of different scaling devices made, shall we say. We have ones that'll collect the scales. This is an electric one that zips them right off, but I've always found that the good old kitchen spoon works as good as anything. It's just quick and efficient and handles well. And to do this, we're actually going to, a little trick we've heard here at the office is by putting the fish underwater to scale. So if I was to scale this fish right now, scales would be flying all over the place and be making a big mess. So instead, I'm just going to take this fish, put it underwater here in this tub, and then just go along the whole fish. Scaling is ripping up towards the head, removing the scales. And this one's got a little point on it so I can actually get right underneath the fins there, and then I can get on top and underneath, and underneath the tail, those scales there. Just making sure we get every scale off the fish because we don't want to eat scales. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And notice there's no scales flying anywhere, they're just staying in the water. And when I'm done, I'm gonna have a container of water and scales I can just cleanly dump out. So we're gonna get all these scales off of here. So there we go, we got a completely scaled crappie. So now the last step is to just take the fish, put it on its edge here, go behind the gills here on the top of the head. Just take your regular knife, cut straight down, and make sure you're cutting behind the fin so you're removing these fins here. So we're just going to cut straight down to the bottom, get to the bottom, peel back, and inside is the entrails. We're going to pull them out, and we have our finished fish. So these are a lot, keeping the skin on will give it a lot more flavor too. So it's really kind of a neat way to do it. It's a little more work to eat the fish off the bones, but it's more flavorful. So there you have it, 3 pretty simple and easy ways of cleaning crappies.